All right, welcome back, my friends. Still got my broken thumb, broken 2 places. Taking forever to get this thing whole sorted out. It's gonna be healed by the time. Yeah, not gonna get into it. Anyway, last night I was doing something else. Everyone thought I was gonna break another bone doing it. I didn't. I'm fine. I got some new art styles that have been firing off in MidJourney version 6, and they're working really well, and I thought I would share those with you. All right, let's get into it. All right, our first style we're going to look at is called Stuckism, and this is it was an art movement in 1999, and it went against conceptual art. It was known as anti-art. So it was against the anti-art movement, which made it pro-art. It was for art. So this is kind of what MidJourney thinks of it. I got some really good responses. You saw women there. You see the man here. I love that guy. He ended up in the thumbnail. So it's very much embracing art as art. Very cool. Billy Childish started this with a guy named Charles Thompson, and it was to promote figurative painting. And it started in the UK. Yeah, so here's a house. This is anti-art. Isn't that fun? That is it. And remodernism. These guys had a bunch of manifestos, so they just had a lot of opinions to throw around. You should look them up. It's pretty interesting. And it's current to our where we are now. Oh Jesus, I guess 1999 though, 2000. Wow, that was like quarter of a century. What I like about it is MidJourney represents it in a very loose style, except for a cheeseburger. I've been having trouble with cheeseburgers lately. I keep getting just photos of cheeseburgers. I don't know what it is. I used to be able to get cool art styles with cheeseburgers. Now I get a lot of photos. Anyway, that's Stuckism. Give it a shot. All right, our next one is Deconstructionism. And while this wasn't an official movement with manifestos and things, it's more of a way that artists interpret traditional concepts of art. So let's take a look at this. Artists using this approach dissect and rearrange elements of their work to expose question and underlying assumptions and norms and contradictions inherent to visual language. As you can see, here are a man and a woman. The process often results in art that is nonlinear, abstract, and open to multiple interpretations. This is a forest. Very cool. It looks like a reflection, but it looks like a double reflection. Here it is in architecture. Here's a house. Deconstructing the house and kind of reassembling it in your own way, taking the bits and parts and putting it together. As we can see, the motorcycle, we still motorcycle, bicycle, having 2 wheels, but it also has that center that is very wheel-like. The octopus, we have the tentacles and the suction cups, but the suction cups seem to float in front of it and very deconstructed. Our skull, almost polygonal work, polygonal artwork can fall into this. I love this one, the tree. It really gets the essence of the shape and the shadow, but it's built up of very precise geometric objects. And the cheeseburger. As I tell you, I'm getting weird cheeseburger stuff. This thing is being deconstructed acutely and violently. Again, sometimes our styles take on the meaning of the adverb, and I think it's being deconstructed is what's happening there. But yeah, try that in a prompt. It's pretty fun. So this next one is more of a, how would you put that? It's not a technique. It is a technique, but it's a very important foundational element of painting. It comes in really, sometimes my work is, I put on the hat of, graphic designer, logo designer, and this is so important when it gets to graphic design and layout and things like that. And it's negative space, and this one I'm calling dominant negative space. I put it in there, and MidJourney really goes to town with it. Let's take a look. So dominant negative space, it's the space between subjects, and how that holds weight. That's the concept of it. As we can see here, the negative space, you have negative space outside the man, you have the negative space inside, and then the collar is breaking it. So it's a very clever use of negative space. Negative space here is all the fog. It's kind of nothingness, but that defines the tree. It defines. I love this one. This is a great balance and composition. We have everything off to the right, and we have this nice triangle between the moon and the two windows. Negative space in photography, we can use that just using a highlight. This would be like a rim light. This is what we would call rim lighting, and taking out the fill and the key light. Our octopus, very cool, very graphical. As I say, graphic work. The skull, same thing. And look, it's got like the side of his skull is blown out. So that makes the negative space even more important. The negative space defines it as much as the positive. A tree, the lone tree, very, very iconic image there. Not much to say, but the negative space is defining the silhouette of it. This one, the cheeseburger, this was interesting because there's a negative space under the burger and above or below the bun. That is very cool. That is a great use of negative space. Sometimes you space elements apart, and that gives this cool, very modern, clean feel to it. So using negative space, very awesome. If you're doing graphic design, throw that in your prompt. If you're trying to develop logos and things, throw negative space in there and see what kind of things you come up with. A very strong style term for MidJourney. All right, let's check out the next one. All right, this next one. This one used to piss me off to all. Oh my God. It's found art or found object art. And I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you a quick story and why I've changed my mind on it. Over 30 years ago, I was in college in art school, and, we would come in and we had a 3-hour class and we'd put up the work we did. This was advanced art, so it was anything you wanted, painting, this, that, the other. It could be painting, drawing, sculpture, photography, performance art, like we saw it all. But found art made me so mad, made my head want to explode. And it came down to one day, this other art student, I had worked on actually it was a reverse painting on glass to make it look like animation, an animation cell, and, working backwards, the way you layer it, it was like very intense. And I put a lot of time into this. And this other student comes in, and on his way to class, he found a dead bird. It was nothing special. I think it was like, if I remember right, it was a robin. And he put it down in front of all these fantastic pieces of art. And for 3 hours, that's all the professor would talk about, was this bird and why it was here and how it's art. And he was just so taken. And I was just, you know what? This is BS. I put all this work into it. I'm, finding my skills, all this. This guy finds a bird. He didn't have a project for the class. He finds a bird on the way to class, and he plops it down, and this is what we're talking about. I mean, I was livid. Now, it's taken me time to realize that I'm still talking about that 30 years later. That was art. He did it. He nailed it. And, that's what it is. If I'm talking about it, I remember it. It's so vivid, and it impacted me so much. Maybe not positively, but he did it. He knew what he was doing. I don't know if he knew what he was doing, but there you go. Found art. Let's take a look at what MidJourney thinks of found art. Start up. So found art is, collecting anything and usually building it into found art, into art. So like here, like sculpture can, people go out, find metal, put it together and make a face like that. MidJourney's doing great. Or sculpture is a great way for found art. Presentation boxes like this. You're going out, you're finding junk. I'm just going to say it like that. And putting it together. Look at this, a birdhouse just from scraps of whatever's in the yard. And you got a train spike. Very cool. Sculpture of a motorcycle. I can tell it's not a real motorcycle because there's not a working parts to it. It's like welded together. An octopus. Again, this is real life stuff that's being found and put together to create an object. It's nothing that's manufactured for that sole purpose. It's recycling. It's reuse, recycle, make art. Here's the skull, and very much. Oh gosh, the word is slipping my mind. A tree. When you break up stuff and then glue it back together. Why am I? And here's cheeseburger is just not working this week. MidJourney, you took cheeseburgers away from me. I can't forgive you for that. My gosh. Anyway, found art. If you want some unique looks, maybe mix that up with cryptid taxidermy. Oh, could be cool. Mix it with something else. But found art, you can get some really cool stuff. And a lot of times it's very industrial. So if you're looking for that look and feel in your prompt output, found art. All right, guys, real quick. I just want MidJourney put some updates in this week. I just want to touch base, make sure you guys have seen it. It's kind of old tools that have been reworked for version 6. We got our zooms, 2x and 1.5. We got a custom zoom. We got the make square. This is all back. In painting is back. Very cool. Should be helpful with our text tools now. And then panning left, right, up, down, all that. That's back. And last night, I believe, was Niji was updated. I never use that. I kind of forget about it. Yeah, I don't know. I should get in there more often. I'm just not an anime guy. It's okay, but I know it can do a lot more. I just kind of forget about it. But anyway, get into MidJourney. There's new tools. Check them out. If you don't see them, shut down Discord, relaunch it. And I'm sure it's over on the alpha site too. Get in there, and yeah, they're giving us some good stuff. All right, guys, thank you for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed your time here. We're looking at a couple more. People are like, Rob, where are your art styles? Why are you giving us all these opinion pieces? Come on, get back to the art styles. So I hope these work out well for you. I really enjoyed them. Like the video if you got something out of it. Subscribe to the channel. That would be huge. I love that. And even better, comment below. Oh, join the Discord. The Discord is going off. We've got some great people over there. We got other streamers, other artists, lots of good stuff. And you can learn so much from these artists over there that are pushing the boundaries every day. All right. Until our next one.